You know, my father, who was a minister, was a big proponent of Bible prophecy, a pre-tribulation rapture. And he used to always tell me that one of the signs of the last days would be earthquakes. And I used to always question him on that because I didn't feel like that many earthquakes were taking place. Well, I can tell you right now, there are a ton of earthquakes taking place right now, and they're happening all over the world. In fact, I have a list of them I want to show you. And you know, one thing I want to say is that when my father used to say that, I was a big skeptic. I wasn't a big follower of Bible prophecy. I did believe at some point that we would have all of the signs that he mentioned, but at that time, no, I did not feel that Bible prophecy was being fulfilled. Certainly, he was ahead of his time, but right now, I do believe that we are in the converging stages, and they are getting more stronger and becoming more prominent. And don't rule out the fact that we're looking at a famine coming around the corner here. And we know from what's happened the last 2 or 3 years that pestilence has become a worldwide phenomenon. And in a few minutes, I'm also going to talk about the wars that are going on that could spring into a world war. But let's start with the earthquakes. There have been at least 2 very high magnitude earthquakes that have taken place in Mexico. And they've happened in the last couple of days. And at the same time, there's been a new report that at any time now, the experts are predicting that a very large-scale earthquake could take place along the San Andreas Fault. Now, of course, they've been saying that for a long time, but they really feel that it's very soon now. And that studies show that the fault along the LAOC coastline could spark an earthquake that could be extremely devastating. There have also been a number of earthquakes in the Indonesia area. And if you get my Gitter account, you probably got the message that I just sent out about an earthquake that just happened today in the Indonesia area and also in the Chile area. And I don't know if I finished my thought on New Zealand, but New Zealand has a volcano that right now they have raised the alert on it. And I believe it's called the Tapo volcano, and they've had 700 small earthquakes that they detected underneath the lake below. So that volcano is starting to rumble, and the earthquakes have been there's been a multitude of earthquakes. And you know, the point I'm trying to make is this right here, is that these earthquakes that I've mentioned, I'm going to show a listing of them from article to article. They haven't happened from now until the beginning or the start of the year. This has all been just this week. And of course, if you look at any type of government earthquake sites, you know that thousands of earthquakes happen every day, but most of them are very, very minute, and they're just not very powerful. But there might be a significant earthquake in a populated area that might happen every 2 or 3 weeks, or whatever the case may be. It's usually mild, but now it's really starting to get to the point to where earthquakes are popping up almost every day in a populated area where destruction is being noticed. And I believe that it's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse until we're going to wonder what's going on. You know, the world's already wondering what's going on. In fact, the UN chief just put out a notice that says that the world is in gridlock in colossal global dysfunction. And this is the statement that was written in the article. It says, UN Secretary of State General Antonio Guterres said Tuesday that a breakdown in global cooperation amid Russia's war in Ukraine is exacerbating the top threats to human existence, including food insecurity, famine, and climate change. Now, of course, I don't necessarily jump on the bandwagon of climate change, but I can tell you right now that famine is on its way. And here's an article coming out of CNBC. It says that Putin's incredibly dangerous nuclear threats raise the risk of an unprecedented disaster. You might say, well, he's bluffing. Well, he went out of his way and said he wasn't. And the U.S. has privately warned Mr. Putin of the consequences if, in fact, he were to use nuclear weapons. Now, I read on the Drudge Report that it is believed that if he tried to use nuclear weapons against Ukraine or whomever, that it's likely that his own generals would kill him. But I'm not so sure that would take place. Right now, I've been reading of different reports of different military advisors and people high up in the Russian government are just mysteriously beginning to die. So I'm not so sure that Mr. Putin is going anywhere anytime soon. And, personally, as speculation, I believe he's still got a date with Israel, and that he will be responsible for coming down upon Israel along with Iran and Turkey and other smaller Islamic and proxy groups that will be lined up both in the south and also the north of Israel. So we're staring in the face of multiple converging signs that are taking place. We know, like I said, we all know about the COVID-19 unprecedented global pandemic that is taking place, and for many, they still believe it's still out there. We're about ready to head into a global famine that's probably going to be at the heart of this world come sometime in 2023. Whether you knew it or not, the axis of evil, now the new axis of evil, could very well be Turkey, Russia, China, and Iran and North Korea. Some of these nations have met just recently to pledge their cooperation in various parts of their endeavors. And when I say that, I mean that whether it be economic or whether it be war. And some of these meetings took place just to send a message to the West to let them know that if you mess with Russia, you may be messing with the rest of us as well. But I would just keep an eye on what's happening in Ukraine, because that very well could turn nuclear very quickly. Personally, I believe there's probably going to be a peace accord that'll take place with many before that takes place. But again, if that's the case, I believe the rapture will take place before that. But one thing you need to remember is that these are all signs that Jesus said would take place just before the tribulation period started. He wanted to let us know. This is a message to us to let us know where we are. And from this war that's in Ukraine, a lot of Russians and a lot of Ukrainians are now coming and fleeing to Israel. This also might be a part of what the Bible says in Ezekiel 38 and also in other parts of the Old Testament, that there would be an exodus from other countries back to the land of Israel of many, many Jews. And Israel right now is looking for a very large influx of Israelis or Jews from Ukraine and also Russia because of what's going on right now. Well, that's the report I have for now. Of course, if you want to make a donation to this ministry, I'd be appreciative. Just go down to the description section of this video and click on the link. It'll take you to my PayPal account and you can make that donation. And if you want to get the news before it gets out and gets to my website or gets to my YouTube account, you want to get on my Getter account. Not only will you get my videos every time they come out, but you'll get information that others aren't getting. So again, I would go to your favorite app store, look up the Getter app and get it, and then do a search on the Calvary Prophecy Report, and I believe that's the way you'll be able to find it, and then follow me. And of course, if you don't know the Lord, today is the day of salvation. Don't put that off. Time is running out, so I would implore you to come to the Lord today. And you that are Christians, you need a copy of my Tribulation Period Survival Guide. You can get the free version, which is written in 9 different languages, or you can get the paid version, which is written in English, but you can hand that to your lost friends and loved ones. And if you do have lost friends and loved ones, I would get them a number of copies, one for each one of them. And if you'd like to do that, again, go down to the description section, click on the link, and it'll take you to where you can do that. Well, this is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.